Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving deep today, going deep into, well,
The future of Bitcoin.
yeah, exactly. We're going to be looking at what the experts are saying, what the market's doing, all that good stuff to get a sense of where Bitcoin might be going.
Long term.
Yeah, long term. And we've got some juicy bits of info, some really interesting stuff to unpack here. Like, just to give you a taste, we're talking about Trump, we're talking about Davos, the whole shebang.
Should be a good one.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so first up, you guys remember back when Trump was campaigning, he talked about setting up a strategic Bitcoin reserve for the U.S., right?
Right.
Well, he recently pardoned Ross Ulbricht.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And, Ulbricht, he was the guy behind the Silk Road. So that whole thing is kind of making people wonder if Trump's actually serious about, bringing Bitcoin into the U.S. financial system, like actually making it happen.
Interesting. So you're connecting the pardon with the campaign promise.
Yeah, kind of, right. I mean, it's like, is he laying the groundwork here? It's definitely food for thought. And imagine if other big economies started doing the same thing, like the G20 countries, the BRICS nations, everyone suddenly like, Bitcoin? We need some of that.
Oh, yeah, that would be huge. A global, Bitcoin buying spree, essentially. I mean, think about the amount of money that would pour into the market if governments all over the world started holding Bitcoin as part of their reserves.
Right. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And it's not just governments either. Davos, the World Economic Forum, it's like the big leagues of traditional finance, right?
Yeah.
Well, even there, CEOs are talking about Bitcoin, crypto, the whole nine yards.
Really? They're finally taking notice?
Oh, yeah. Seems like they're ready to dive in, but they're waiting for some clear regulations, some guidelines to work with.
That makes sense. They need a framework.
Exactly. And you know what? This is where Trump's move to appoint a team specifically to clarify Bitcoin regulations could be a game changer because it addresses that exact concern.
Oh, that's smart. It's like he's clearing the path for Wall Street and all these big institutions to get involved.
Totally. So we've got like two major forces potentially pushing Bitcoin forward, governments maybe adopting it, and then these big institutions just waiting for the green light to invest.
Yeah.
But does that mean the price is going to skyrocket, like automatically?
Well, it definitely puts upward pressure on the price, right? But Bitcoin's market, it's still pretty new and volatile, so there are other things that could affect the price, like global economics, or regulations in other countries.
Makes sense, yeah. It's never a simple equation with Bitcoin. But it's pretty wild to hear these like traditional finance giants talking about Bitcoin's potential. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's shifting perspective.
Totally. Like the CEO of Bank of New York Mellon, he said he believes Bitcoin and digital assets are going to be a major part of the financial system in the next like 10, 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And even Ray Dalio, he's been pretty skeptical of Bitcoin in the past, but he actually said it can help like stabilize a portfolio, even with all the daily ups and downs.
Interesting. So even with the volatility, there's value there.
Exactly. It's like, it might be a roller coaster ride, but it could be a profitable one if you can handle the twists and turns.
Right. It's about the long game.
Yeah, for sure. So all these big names, they're basically saying that, this idea of Bitcoin being widely adopted, being part of mainstream finance, it's not so crazy anymore. It's actually starting to look more and more likely.
Makes you think, right, about what the future of finance might actually look like.
Totally. And, speaking of looking ahead, let's check out what the technical side of things is telling us. So Bitcoin's price, it's been moving sideways lately between $108,000 and that support zone around 92,500.
Sort of consolidating, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's gathering energy before it makes a move.
Right. And if it breaks through that $108,000 resistance, the next target could be $118,000.
That's a nice jump. And to add to that, there's been a huge amount of money flowing into those spot Bitcoin ETFs.
Yeah, I saw that. It's pretty spectacular.
All right. And guess who's behind a lot of that?
Let me guess. Institutional investors.
Bingo. It's like they were waiting for those regulations to get clarified, and now they're ready to play.
It all ties together, doesn't it? Government interest, institutional investment, even the technical analysis, it's all pointing in a similar direction.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It really feels like we're at a turning point for Bitcoin.
It does, and it makes you wonder, what happens if Bitcoin really does become like a core part of the global financial system? I mean, how would that change things?
That's a great question. One of the articles we looked at even said that Bitcoin has a long life ahead of it, like it's just getting started.
Right. This could be just the beginning.
For sure. So for everyone listening, think about that, What if the future of finance is way more decentralized, way more digital than we ever imagined? It's a wild thought and might not be that far off.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. So thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Bitcoin's future. We'll keep digging into all this and let you know what we find.
Always good to stay informed.
Couldn't agree more. Until next time, keep those minds curious, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.